Good evening and welcome to the 716 Playbook, where every play counts. Thank you all for tuning in, those of you that are here. If you're watching this not live, if you're watching this after it's already been recorded, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. If this is your first time coming on, I hope I don't scare you away. And if you are a reoccurring viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I'm glad that I didn't scare you. Now, look, we have a lot to get into, as always. I don't think I'll never not say that. We almost always have things to get into. But tonight, all right, you might be seeing some changes here. You might be thinking, where is that glorious little ticker at the bottom of the screen that just kept going around and around and around all throughout the episode, and it was distracting. It was distracting me, and obviously it was distracting you. Well, it's gone. It's absolutely gone. Now you can see it's all right down below, right there for you to see. It's going to stay right there all episode long. We have gotten rid of the banners. We've switched streaming platforms. It's a new show. It's a completely new show. And you might be thinking to yourself, wow, I can just see all of Kyle's blemishes right now. I can just see him, he's not pixelated, he's clear. That is because you are looking at me finally through a 4K lens. You're finally looking at me through a 4K lens. This is me. This is me in 4K. Take it or leave it. I hope you take it. But look, yes, we've made a lot of changes even the last week alone. If you've missed a couple episodes, we've made so many changes. Got a new logo over there, on that side. We have the social media accounts that we are on, and we are plugging, we are chugging. The new format, so you are getting a unique clip every night. It's not just reruns of the show. You are getting unique everyday clips of what is going on in Buffalo sports world. On top of that, we are also kind of streamlining some of the shows. So obviously you will always have the Tuesday show at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But on top of that, if any big news breaks out during the week, I will come on here and give you a live reaction as soon as I can. Just something unique. There will be no schedule. I'll just come on and talk. Before we get into the show, I want to make sure that you all know that we are on X, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube. I do have a Linktree. I have a Linktree link out there somewhere. If you go to any of my platforms and you look up at the 716 Playbook or at 716 Playbook on YouTube, you will find in the bio or in the website section, you'll see my link tree. Make sure you click it. Make sure you see all the other platforms. It'll bring them all up for you. You can just follow them all. Make sure you turn on bell notifications so you never miss an update. You can constantly know when I'm going live. So even if I'm spontaneously going live, you will know and you will tune in. I do not want any of you guys to miss out on what is going on in the Buffalo sports world. And obviously, like I say almost every single show, please comment. Even if you're watching this after the live is done, make sure you like and you comment and you follow the account. It means a lot to me. I will interact with every comment possible. If it's live, I will pop it up and I will talk about it. And if it's not live, I will make sure to talk about it in the next episode. Now, look. Now that we've gone through all of that, I want to make sure you guys are sharing the page, sharing the account with everybody that you know that would be interested in watching. This show only goes as far as you allow it. There's only so much that I can do and market. There's only so much that I can do and make changes and make it look good. There is also a huge part for you guys, and it means a lot to me. With all that being said, we're going to get right into it, and we're going to be talking about the Buffalo Bandits. They are back on a winning streak, winning their game on Saturday against the Saskatchegon Rush. Won 9-7, all right, in Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan, more like SaskatcheGONE. All right, that's my dad joke for the episode. We are still number one in the league with a record of 9-1. And the Saskatchewan are still at number 2, right underneath us. They are 9-3, so they have the same amount of wins, but they've lost 2 more games than us. Matt Beane had a glorious night. He had 41 saves, with 14 coming just in the final quarter alone, and he allowed just 2 second-half goals the entire game. Matt Beane has done everything right for this team. He is a huge part of why we are doing so well. Josh Byrne and Dan Smith, or Dehan Smith, or however you want to pronounce his name, they combined for 11 points in this game alone, just the two of them. Smith is leading the league in assists with 63 assists on the season, while also coming in second overall with 83 points on the season, which is only 1 point off from Connor Fields, who plays for Rochester, and he's leading the league in overall in points. So shout out to Connor Fields for the Rochester team. They're doing okay, but Connor is obviously doing very well. He has 84 points on the season. On top of all that, Matt Vince is leading the league in goalie wins this season. For you guys that don't know what goalie win is, it means that they are on the field when their team scores a winning goal. Matt Vince has 9. So 9 games out of, we're 9-1, so 9 out of 10 games. He's got the, he's leading the league in goalie wins. So shout out to Matt Vince. Terry Pachula, or Terry Pagula, however you want to pronounce his name. He obviously is probably very happy with both of his teams right now that are in the National Lacrosse League. If you guys don't know, Terry owns both the Buffalo Bandits and the Rochester Nighthawks. Well, the defense shined in this battle against the Rush, and they must be listening to the show because everything that I've said on this show so far about the lack of defense, they did it. They did it right. It was a very low offensive game. Bandits allowed the lowest amount of goals at 7 goals since December 28th. So over 2 months. So it's been over 2 months that they have they allowed the lowest amount. The 4th time that the Bandits have allowed a single-digit goal total this season. So just good things that are coming out of this game. I'm going to break this down quarter by quarter for you if you didn't get to watch the game. Well, first half of the first quarter, no points. Saskatchewan finally scored when the Bandits answered back quickly, back-to-back, making it 2-1. The Rush score, and then quickly the Bandits were able to answer back and score back-to-back, making it 2-1 Bandits. After that, the Rush were able to come back and score 3 consecutive times to end the quarter 4-2. I was not happy with the ending of this first quarter. Just annoying that we allowed them to score 3 times consecutively. It shouldn't have been allowed, but I can't control how the team reacts. I think also for a team, you can really gain momentum, back-to-back goals. You should have been able to capitalize that even further, and they weren't able to do that. So they allowed them to get right back in the game, make it 4-2 Rush. So in the second quarter, beginning of the second quarter, the Rush scored against the Bandits to make it 5-2, and this is when the Bandits finally started turning on their offense. After battling the entire second quarter, they were able to score at the end to make it 5-3 at half. Vince had 16 saves in the first half alone, and Saskatchewan had 20 saves. So, again, just a heavily defensive first half. Yes, we allowed points, but it was a low amount of points on both ends of the both ends. I don't know how I'm trying of the field. It's not really a field of the arena. But anyway, getting back into that was my little brain fart trying to figure out what the heck do you call a lacrosse field? A lacrosse field. Anyway, third quarter. Nanakoke comes right on out in the second half and scores his first goal of the game to pull us within 1. Byrne then scores it up to tie the game, and it's now sitting 5-5. Then Nanahoe completes the run, dodges the defense, cuts to the middle, and shoots past the goalie's right shoulder to take the lead, and the Bandits now lead 6-5. And Vince had 11 saves in the third quarter alone. In the fourth quarter, Rush hadn't scored for 30 minutes straight before finally being able to get one past Vince and tie the game up, which was obviously short-lived. After Buchanan was able to beat the goalie to the left post to score and take the lead back 7-6 for the Bandits. Justin Martin added on to the lead by making it 8-6 for Buffalo with 3 minutes and 41 seconds left in the game. Saskatchewan then pulls their goalie, which helps the Bandits score on an empty net after Vince is able to save a shot, making it now 9-6. Well, with less than a minute left, the Rush were able to score off a rebound which made it 9-7. But unfortunately, they were not able to come back. They just were in a three-point deficit. You're not going to be able to come back within the 3 minutes left to play. So that allowed the Bandits to come out on top with this game. Heavily defensive, kind of sloppy offense. We'll see what happens in this next game. Actually, honestly, this win did not give me warm fuzzies. I was kind of frustrated. Our offense is way more electric than what it shows. But anyway, Buffalo plays the Calgary Roughnecks in Buffalo at KeyBank Center this Saturday, March 8th. 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be streaming on ESPN Plus and TSN Plus. And make sure that if you can't watch it, if you're in the car driving, you can listen to it at 1520 AM radio. The local channel in Buffalo will be at CW 23, and it'll be nationally televised. This game will be nationally televised on the TSN channel. So if you get the TSN channel, you can watch the Bandits game against the Roughnecks. It'll be an exciting game. Make sure if you can't watch the game, you follow the 716 Playbook on any platform for live updates on the game, like scoring. And if anything big happens, I will make sure to shout it out. The Roughnecks are 6-6 and have scored and allowed the same amount of points overall this season at 151. Buffalo has averaged more points scored and less points allowed than them. So Buffalo should have no problem statistically winning this game. It's all about that mental game and how the defense wants to play. If the defense comes out and plays like they did against the Rush, we'll have no problem as long as our offense can pick it up as well. Now look, that was a lot of information given to you all at one time. I understand that. Long story short, it feels like the Bandits are going through this heavily offensive lack of defensive games and then heavily defensive lack of offensive games. There's not really like a key pinpoint. It's not like key players are being missing from either of these games. It really is just the draw of how they are coming out and playing. It also has to do with the playmaking ability on our team and how we prepare. Obviously, going up against the Rush, we need to prepare the defense, and that was very clear. The Rush are matching the same amount of wins as us this season. They do have more losses, but they play more games. So coming out against the Rush, it was key to not let them win, and they have been able to outscore their opponents. That's what's leading them to win, and they're outscoring them by massive margins. So coming out strong with the defense was great, but the offense definitely needed a wake-up call halfway throughout the game, and they did awaken at some point. But that's my official assessment of the game. Now, look, we're going to get into the Sabres segment. We're going to be talking about these Buffalo Sabres. And finally, I get to do this again. If you're watching the show, I'm glad you're watching. This is my little dumpster fire. All right, this is to symbolize the Buffalo Sabres. The little guy's going to sit right there while I do this segment, all right? Buffalo Sabres lost 3 straight games since our last show. I will very quickly look at the playoff odds now for the NHL and tell you where the Sabres lie. Buffalo Sabres have a 0.4% chance, which is better than last night when I looked. Last night it was at a 0.3% chance. They have a 0% chance, or at least 0% odds, of making the final or winning the cup. Oh, boy. Yeah, unfortunately, the Sabres just... They're clearly not the team they once were. But it just seems like they knew that the odds were stacked against them. We were getting momentum, and all of a sudden we lost 3 straight games. They lost against the Hurricanes and then the Canadiens twice, back-to-back games against the Canadiens, once in Buffalo and then once in Montreal. We are still sitting at number 8 in the Eastern Atlantic Division. We are 24, 29, and 6. the Sabres would have to win out the rest of the season pretty much to win, and hope that certain teams lost certain games to keep them within the slim playoff chance. It's kind of safe to say at this point it's relatively over. The playoff chances for the Sabres are gone. You might be thinking, I thought that a long time ago. I get it. I wanted to have some hope that we could somehow rally back after the break. We were kind of on a roll, but unfortunately that is gone. Not only that, but going into the game against the Canadiens at home, we were on a 6-game winning streak at home, and that is now gone. So look, it's just frustrating because I think even if you know the reality that you're living in, you still want to tell yourself that things are better than they actually are. It's like the whole world's on fire around you, but you still want to tell yourself that, hey, there's a chance. With the Sabres, that chance is gone. So, unfortunately, can't believe in 4K you're about to watch me cry about the Sabres. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to cry. There's no tears shed. If you're just listening to this and you're not watching this, please know that there are no tears shed. I was very prepared for this reality. But if I ever do end up crying over a sports team, that would be interesting if I do cry over a sports team at all, ever in this show. But if I ever do, you'll get to now watch it in 4K because of that nice 4K camera with a streaming service that now allows me to stream in 4K. Again, I am loving the changes to the channel, and I will continue to make changes little by little here and there. If you're thinking, wow, the lighting looks really great, thank you. If you're thinking, Kyle, stop touching your hair, I should probably do that too. But the lighting, I now have a soft box, so hopefully that gets more lighting on parts of my face that weren't getting any lighting on before, because the only light that I had was coming from here. So this whole section of my face was just dark. So again, shout out to Ryan for helping me get a lot of software technical stuff situated. Some late nights, doing some video chats and setting up some programs and softwares and new streaming services and allowing overlay systems to come into effect so that you can see what you're seeing on your page. All right. We are now going to move into the first game for the Sabres, and that was against the Hurricanes, where we lost 5-2. It was a rough game. We struggled early on, and we couldn't come back from it. We gave Carolina every opportunity to shoot while we struggled to make anything work for us. And that's pretty much all I got for that game. In the first game against the Canadiens, it was at home. We lost 4-2. No scores in the first period. In the second period, we did lead at one point, 2-1, our only lead of the game, but it was short-lived. They ended up scoring 2 more times, and they were up 3-2. And then they were able to score again, making it 4-2, and the Sabres failed to even score once in the third period. In the second game against the Canadiens, which was last night, we lost 4-3 in overtime. It was probably the most exciting one of these 3 games. We were down by 3. Montreal scored 3 times in the first period. They went up 3-0. Then we fought back, and we fought back in the second. We fought back in the third, and we were able to tie it up with a minute left in regulation. But Montreal was able to score in overtime, and we weren't, allowing them to win 4-3. Obviously, my assessment is pretty weak. But again, I have a lot to talk about with the NFL, and the Sabres, it's over. The season is over. I will give you all updates about the Sabres just as much as I give you about the Bandits. But please know that this channel is very Buffalo Bills heavy, which I think a lot of you, it's why a lot of you come on to watch. And I know that. So I'm trying to make changes to that to kind of control the amount of time that I'm spending on the other segments. Because obviously we all want to talk about the best team in Buffalo, besides the Bandits, which are also doing amazing things. But the Buffalo Bills are also doing great things as well. Look, the next game that the Sabres play is actually tonight. They're playing the San Jose Sharks at home in Buffalo. It's Bills night in the arena. And I will check the score right now to let you guys know. Game just started. They're in the first period. They're only like 2 minutes in, and it's 0-0. I will check back before the end of the episode to kind of tune in to see what's going on with the score. What does Bills night mean? Well, it means that there's going to be coaches, alumni, and personalities. I heard that Sean McDermott is going to cop onto a Zamboni in between one of the periods and do clean the ice. The first 10,000 fans got a commemorative squish the fish because they're playing the San Jose Sharks, and squish the fish is obviously a Bills, a Bills slogan when they play the Dolphins. So they're gonna get a rally towel. The first ever Bills night. So, that's pretty cool for the Buffalo Sabres to put that on. Former Bills safety George Wilson will be there to host the game. And Bills legend Steve Tasker will also be in attendance with some other select players and famous fans like Pinto Ron, Bills Chef, Bills Elvis, and Del Reed. And Del Reed, if you don't know, is the Bills Mafia co-founder. They're obviously going to do some fun stuff like sing the shout song, do the train horn, some autograph signings, and they're going to, obviously, nobody's wearing a Sabres jersey because this would be a poor time to wear a Sabres jersey. So everybody's going to be wearing a Bills jersey in the stadium. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to some love, some cross love between the sports teams in Buffalo. Now, look, that wraps up the Sabres segment for the show. We're going to move into the NFL segment, focus on the Buffalo Bills and what's going on in the NFL and how that's all going to kind of go together. That doesn't sound well. How it's going to go, how that's going to play off each other. But before we do, we're going to do our food for thought segment, which is my favorite. I love this. I love also spending an hour searching for interesting NFL facts. And you might be thinking it took an hour to find interesting NFL facts. No, I got so wrapped up into interesting NFL facts that it took me over an hour to finally say, oh, wait, I'm doing research for the show. Well, here's your food for thought. The Houston Oilers have won 2 divisional titles more recently than the Cleveland Browns have won 1 title in their division. The Houston Oilers, which is not even a team anymore, they won in 1991 and 1993. The Cleveland Browns, last time they won a divisional title was 1989. Yikes. If you're a Browns fan watching this right now, I am so sorry. If you're watching this 10 years from now and you guys are now great, I'm not sorry anymore. But most likely in 10 years, you'll probably still be doing just as rough as you are now under the same head office. And I'm so sorry for you guys. That's a terrible stat. But anyway, that's a crazy stat that I just came upon. I found that within like 2 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about this. Because obviously with the Myles Garrett talk, that's an exciting thing to talk about. And then an hour later, finally realized that I was still looking at interesting NFL facts. Just to let you guys know, there's a Reddit page. Reddit is a social media platform. If you don't know what that is, look it up. There is an entire page dedicated to interesting NFL facts. So if you're curious or you're bored one night, please go look at it. You'll get swooped in for an hour and a half, just like me. I'm going to take a nice drink of water, and then we're going to get right back into the Bills segment. All right. Now that I have some quenched my thirst, and I'm finally back in this. A lot of stuff has happened last week. A lot of stuff has happened today, yesterday. This is what I'm going to say. If you've come on today and thought, hey, let's see what Kyle has to say about the NFL Combine and about the upcoming draft, you've come to the wrong place. I have a deep love for college football. I also have a very deep love for the NFL. I think that, and I'm going to try to stay calm because I feel like I get very passionate sometimes for no reason. The talk about the NFL Combine, the talk about the NFL Draft is so overly media speculated, so annoyingly talked about, that it bothers me. And you might think, why does it bother you so much? Well, this is why it bothers me so much. There's no reason to speculate, to give a hypothetical over something that we don't even know if the player will be available at the time that our round or our pick has come. The newest thing that I've seen is, what does AI think about the upcoming NFL draft? I personally don't care what ChatGPT says about how the Buffalo Bills and their head office should draft their players in the upcoming draft. Call me crazy, but I'm not going to speculate, because you might have this whole game plan about how Buffalo should go into the draft. This is the positions and players that they should be looking at. And then the player's gone because you completely underestimated the other teams in what they needed. Also, every team is going through a rebuilding in their defense. Do you know why? Because of what we just saw in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl showed every single team that you can't win without a defense. So now I'm going to tell you, mark my words, this will probably be like the most defensive players drafted in the first round in NFL draft history in 2025. That is my official assessment, because everybody just saw how amazing the Eagles were in their defense at stopping the Chiefs. I think almost every single competitive team in the NFL next year will have a good defense. That's what's going to keep them competitive, because the defense is going to go up. It's going to lower the offense on either side of the ball, allowing for more fun games. This is like a full circle moment for a second. For so long, we've been focusing on offense. Finally, we're going to stream back into defense a little bit. That's my assessment, okay? Stop speculating over what player, what position, this is the strategy, and this is how you go into it in the NFL Combine. No, honestly, in my official opinion, as a non-professional in media and sports media, I'm going to say this. I don't think that you should give up one of the best available players because you need this position maybe more than this guy. In my opinion, that's crazy. That's crazy. If you have the opportunity to draft a player who can make a dramatic change, but you're like, oh, I need a defensive edge more. So, like, we're not going to focus on this amazing, talented wide receiver. That's crazy. You take it as it is, and you wait until your turn. You see what players are available, and you make the pick. If there was a strategy, oh my gosh, I keep messing with my hair. If there was like a known strategy, it's not focusing on position. It's focusing on what's the best player next. But this is my other opinion on all this. There's a reason why the media hypes up the draft and the combine. It's because that's the big thing happening right now in the NFL world, or in any sports world once the league is done. And no more NFL games. Trading season hasn't even started yet. So there's not as much big news happening in the NFL world. So let's just harp all of our attention onto something and hypotheticals that we don't even know are going to happen. Like, trades are more fun to talk about because there's a bigger probability, A. But B, we already know their talent in the NFL. You don't know a player's talent compared from college to the National Football League. And if you want to debate me right here, I would love to. If you have a different opinion from what I've just said, please comment down below. If you have a question about what I've just said, comment down below. I will make sure to talk about it, because I personally think that the overhyped talk about the NFL Combine and the NFL Draft is solely talked about more than it should, because there's nothing else to talk about right now. If there were massive trades happening every day, nobody would be talking about the upcoming draft, because at that point, Myles Garrett getting traded to another team is way more important than what best rookie is going to come out of the draft. Also, every player is different on every team. Okay? Let's take this for example. Xavier Worthy could have done amazing on the Bills. The Bills could have made the worst decision of their lives not picking him. Or Keon did better than Xavier would have done on the Bills. We have no idea, because we have, first off, no idea what the team is strategizing compared to offense and defense, what they want plays to look like going into next season. So we have no idea what kind of players they should get, because we have no idea what the strategy is for the team. Second, the player could get injured. things could happen. They could get injured in preseason. Or they could have gotten injured in training camp. They could have gotten injured. Heck, they could have gotten injured the first game, the second game, the third game. Whatever. You have no idea. But hindsight clearly is always going to be 2020. But also, it still isn't 2020. Because Xavier Worthy did amazing on the Chiefs. I have no idea who's to say that Keon didn't do better than Xavier if Xavier would have been on the Bills. I have no idea. So please stop speculating things that have never happened. Because we don't know. That's my sense. That's my 2 cents on the matter. That's it. That's all I got for you. I refuse to talk anything more about the draft. If you want to trade picks and stuff, we'll talk about it. But personally, I just think they should go in there with a clear mind. They should think, hey, maybe we should focus on heavily more defensive players. But honestly, at the end of the day, whoever is the best player up next, we should grab. Worst comes to worst, we use him as a trade. Anyway, now that I've spoken about my 2 cents and what the matter is, let's talk about one of the biggest things that happened in the NFL world. Saquon Barkley got a massive contract extension. Let me pull up the official contract for you all if you haven't already heard. Here we go. Saquon Barkley. That also did not help. Okay. I got to find the actual... Let me just look it up because I'm kind of tired of... Because I don't want to botch the exact number. Saquon Barkley signed a 2-year, $41.2 million extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. His contract terms are 2 years for $41 million. Average salary will be $20.6 million. No signing bonus, but a $36 million guarantee. And now he'll be free agent in 2029. So it adds on to his old contract. That's nuts. He is now going to be making the most ever as a running back in NFL history. So my official opinion now for the Bills is that James Cook is gone. There's no way that we can afford a $15 million running back. There's no reason why we should be paying $15 million for a running back. I'll stand on that. I really will. Unfortunately, the NFL, the running backs do not get paid as much as other positions. And this is what I'll say. The running back position for a franchise tagged player for a running back position is currently $13 million, which is they're usually always overly grossed, okay? That's usually always overly grossed because franchise tags are supposed to hurt the team. Right, in some way it's supposed to hurt the team. So $13.6 million is what the NFL franchise tag is, all right? That's already a crazy amount of money. It's already an overflated number. But the average running back salary right now in the NFL is 1.7. I don't think that James Cook should get $15 million a year, which is what he's asking for. But if Saquon's going to get 20, now James automatically in his head is like, yeah, I need at least 15. Unfortunately, James, you didn't win us a Super Bowl ring. And I'll say that real quick. Not even, I don't care if that's controversial. You didn't win us a Super Bowl ring. The way that he's been behaving, even Brandon Beane said it last week in the Combine. He doesn't agree with how James Cook has handled business. You know, he should be keeping that type of business in-house, and he's not. He's all over social media. My phone is blowing up because I have bell notifications on for James Cook to see when he posts. He's constantly posting today on X because he's like, look at this, look at this, look at this. I don't think that we'll be paying him $50 million. And if we do, I think it's a big mistake. It's going to hurt us in the cap. Now, Khalil Shakir just signed a 4-year, $60 million term, and he really deserves $77 million for 4 years. That's great. Khalil understood the assignment. I really hope that James Cook comes around to it. But worst comes to worst, I'm still confident in our running back room. We bring on Ty Johnson for like a 2-year, $6 million deal. We keep Ray Davis for the year because he's still on a rookie contract. And all is well with the world. And we pick up some running back late in the draft. Right, there you go. Bye-bye, James Cook. Leverage James Cook. Trade him. Don't release him. Trade him. The Browns currently are without a running back because Nick Chubb is going to test free agency. He's most likely going to be gone. Use somebody like Von Miller and James Cook and even Kaiir Elam. Get rid of all three at once. One-way ticket to the Browns for a pick and Myles Garrett. Sounds good to me. That's what I'd be offering right now. Kill 100 birds with one stone. Look, this was the lowest year in the NFL for franchise tags. There were only 2 players that got franchise tags, and it was T. Higgins and Trey Smith. If you don't know what a franchise tag is, it's pretty much a 1-year contract that the team uses to keep star players from leaving that team. It is terrible. The Cincinnati Bengals have now done this twice, 2 years in a row, to T. Higgins. A player can only have it happen to them 3 times. T. Higgins has been kind of testing the waters of free agency. Most likely, he was probably going to go to the Patriots because they have a lot of cap space. They could give him a lot of money. That's not the case anymore. He's stuck with Cincinnati. That's how the franchise tag wants. Even if he wants to go somewhere else, he doesn't have a choice. He has to play with Cincinnati. Trey Smith on the Chiefs. He's the Chiefs guard. He's another player who got a franchise tag. They're the only 2 players. And the NFL sets the franchise tag limit. So if a team wants to franchise tag a player, the NFL says this is how much you have to pay them, at least. Most likely why teams do it is because they want to extend the contract negotiations, but they don't want that player flirting with the idea of going somewhere else. So they'll put a franchise tag on them, stop them from talking to other teams, and then be able to talk to them one-on-one about doing like an extension. T. Higgins, I don't think wants the extension, or Bengals don't want to pay T. Higgins what he deserves. T. Higgins is an amazing receiver, but Jamar Chase is also on the team, so they can't overpay T. Higgins from Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase is currently being flirted with the idea of making the most amount of money as a non-quarterback in NFL history. So again, there's so much brewing that unfortunately, the reality for T. Higgins is that he's stuck on the Bengals for another year. But anyway, that's just some other news coming out of the NFL. Besides that, for the Buffalo Bills, there really hasn't been much. Quentin Morse, a tight end who was on our reserves, he's gone. We released him. We're not going to keep him. They're toying with the idea of maybe bringing him back on a lower contract, but unfortunately, he is kind of been released. Really, he's not going to be tendered. He's tendered, so he's not going to come back as of right now. Besides that, I'm going to try to find. We're going to look at other things going on in the Buffalo sports world. But really, it's been a quiet week. The combine just happened, so there's a lot of teams not doing much right now. They just got back from what they should be doing, going to the combine and just watching the players work and seeing what they do. And I'm also here to say, if a player does really bad in the combine, doesn't mean he's going to do terrible things for the rest of his NFL career. It doesn't mean he's going to go into the NFL and be terrible. It means he had a bad day, or B, if a quarterback, like the Ohio State quarterback, I can't remember his name, Howard, if he did not do well, he didn't throw well. But people have been arguing that he's not throwing to his receivers. He's throwing to new receivers who they run routes different ways. That's just how it is. So I don't put anything on Howard, honestly. I don't think that he should be getting the criticism that he's been getting. And I think he'll be a fine quarterback in the league. So, But let me see if there's really anything else. Not much to talk about for the Buffalo Bills per se, but there have been some rumors around trades and what goes into. We're going into free agency here. So what does that look like? Well, for starters, the Patriots have called about a A.J. Brown trade. Have no idea what that entails, but the NFL wants to trade for A.J. Brown, which I would be very curious to see what that looks like. He's an amazing blocker. He is a massive wide receiver. Right now, the Patriots running back, Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, Terrell Jennings. No great running backs. They probably will draft a running back in the upcoming draft. So if they have a blocker like A.J. Brown, that makes a lot of difference to your run game. So obviously that's probably what they're probably toying with the idea of drafting a high-end running back. And then they have Drake May, who's great, a great quarterback. I have a lot of respect for that kid. I think he's going to do just fine on the Patriots. But having a receiver like A.J. Brown is a dual threat. You can throw to him. Drake May is a great quarterback, has great awareness of the field. And then having A.J. Brown also be able to block for a really good running back coming out of the college football league is a dangerous duo, at least for their offense. So I'm kind of worried about the Patriots. That sounds crazy to say. I think they're going to be like the biggest threat coming into the AFC East next season. I think the Bills will still take it, but obviously it'll be the hardest the last couple of years will be this season. I still think it's going to be a cakewalk for the Bills in the next season, taking the division. The Colts are expected to have interest in Justin Fields. Steelers really ruined that chance. I really think that the playoff game against the Ravens, they should have done something different, and they didn't. Russell Wilson was not the answer, clearly, and they just weren't doing anything to improve, which is baffling to me. They were doing nothing to improve the game. I would have taken Russell Wilson out at half and put Justin Fields in. What's the worst that can happen? You were down. They were down pretty big, I think, at half. They were Steelers-Ravens game, the NFL wild card round. They were down 21-0. What's the worst? You're down 21 points. You might as well just take out your star quarterback and put in Justin Fields and see what he could do. Because Justin Fields' record compared to Russell Wilson. Let me look at that stat. This is what happens. I end up talking, and then I'm like, oh, I really want to see what that stat looks like. Fields was 4-2. Wilson was 6-5. That's great. So Fields was 2-1. Wilson was, I can't do that math, but Fields had a better. Fields would have been 8-4. 8-4. They would have been 12-6. 12-6 or 12-5 compared to 6-5, 11-10, 11. Yeah. So again, that's obviously not. They don't play 21 games, but roughly, if you were to double, 8-4, which is 50%, or 200%, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. I apologize. I am on live. Why am I going on and on about Justin Fields right now? Anyway, I have a lot of respect for that kid. Oh, boy. There was another trade that happened today. The Rams traded Jonah Jackson, an offensive lineman, to the Chicago Bears in exchange for a 2025 sixth-round pick. Trade cannot be processed until the 12th, but that is another thing to look at. I don't understand why the Rams... He didn't do well this year. He didn't have good stats this year. I don't know what the... He obviously has history with Ben Johnson, but I still don't understand what the Bears got out of that. They just lost a draft pick, but we'll see what happens with all that. The Jets released Davante Adams today, so that's big news. Apparently, Buffalo is in the talks of signing him. I don't want Davante Adams. He is 32. He's past his prime. I don't want him. Stop signing old guys to Buffalo. Stop signing guys that are out of their prime to Buffalo. I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want him. His stunt with the Jets was terrible. That whole, like, Pat McAfee show when Aaron Rodgers, like, toyed and, like, brought in Davante Adams when they traded for him. He's like, yeah, we're going to go on a Super Bowl run. And then didn't even make the playoffs. It was embarrassing. I do not want him on our team. The Cowboys restructured the contract of CeeDee Lamb. So now they created about $20 million of salary cap space. That's good. I really wish we could do that with Von Miller. That would make a lot of things happen. The Jets have given Allen Lazard permission to seek a trade. The Jets are just crumbling. They're on a rebuild. And the Eagles have released James Bradbury, and they are going to post-June 1st release Darius Slay Jr., which is what we're going to talk about in this segment. Rasul Douglas, who plays for the Buffalo Bills as a cornerback, his contract is up, and Buffalo is toying with the idea of either bringing him back or not. Kyle does not want Rasul Douglas back. I think he was great when he came on and when we traded for him 2 years ago. I think he had a great 1 year with us, and then the next season he didn't do as good. My opinion on all of this, I am not anti-Rasul Douglas. I think that I was happy when the trade happened. I am now. I don't want him back. I think he served a purpose. I think that purpose is over. Can we sign somebody like a Darius Slay to like a 2-year, $10 million deal? Not even. What is his current? His current contract is 3 years, $42 million. Bring him back on a low even a 2-year, $15 million deal. Bring him back on something small, okay? Even if it's a 1-year deal. Bring him back and let's just see what he can do. Draft a couple young guys, okay? Young cornerbacks, or bring them up, trade for them, whatever. Bring some young guys in and let Darius Slay Jr. not only start for us, but kind of raise those young bucks a little bit up, okay? Let Darius Slay kind of groom those young cornerbacks into something. That's my official assessment of that. I think we should be making a pursuit for that. Myles Garrett, we should be making a pursuit for. If we can't get Myles Garrett, Max Crosby would be huge. But obviously that all goes into each other as well. The Cowboys are signing, I can't pronounce his name, but I can't pronounce his name, and that's really embarrassing. What is his name? He is the defensive tackle for the Cowboys. Adaguzua. That was probably a terrible pronunciation of that. But anyway, they signed him to a 4-year, $80 million deal. So obviously, every year he gets $20 million. So that's a kind of crazy defensive tackle. That's a lot of money for a defensive tackle. But yeah, what am I to say? Because we're giving Ed Oliver over $20 million a year. So apparently that's not that crazy. It's in Buffalo Bills world, it's not that crazy. There's so much that's happening. It's crazy. Oh, Devon. Let me try to find him. Javon Holland. Screen just blacked out. There we go. Javon Holland. They did not franchise tag Javon Holland. He will probably most likely be a free agent. Well, he is, but most likely probably won't sign back with the Miami Dolphins. He is a safety. The Buffalo Bills desperately need a safety. I am not against getting Holland. Get rid of DeMar Hamlin. Do not sign him back and replace him with Javon Holland. I wish we could get Jordan Poyer back. Jordan Poyer solely left the Buffalo Bills because of taxes. He's now in Florida, and they have a lot better athletic taxes. I don't blame him. Let him live his best life down there, but he'll never win a ring. Hopefully the Buffalo Bills can win one without him. Sam Darnold will not be franchise tagged by the Vikings. Franchise tag is over, but Sam Darnold probably will not be playing for the Vikings next year. They're most likely going to put all their eggs into J.J. McCarthy's basket, which means that Sam Darnold now has the opportunity to go other places. Also, Matthew Stafford agreed to conditions with the Rams, so he's going to stay on. No official contract yet, but they're going to stay with each other and talk about a contract and potentially an extension so that Matthew Stafford will not leave the Rams. Khalil Mack is open to a reunion with the Bears. That's pretty massive. And the Packers are most likely going to be releasing Jair Alexander instead of trading him. Releasing him saves Green Bay $17 million in cap space. It would make more sense for them to do that instead of trying to find a team that wants to pick up all that money. They're going to release him instead and let Jair Alexander go out into the wild, which would be great. He's a cornerback. I don't necessarily want to sign him for a lot of money. He's injury prone. We don't need him on the team, but I'm interested to see if he would be a kind of a semi-good fit for the Bills. Darius Slay. There's flirtatious with the Steelers. There's some flirting with the Steelers. They're second most likely to get the Steelers, to get Darius Slay, is the Steelers. So that would be interesting to see as well. Look, there's 100 different stats. DK Metcalf is another big name that we can talk about as well. Again, there's so much free agency talk. There's so much that we can go back and forth on. What looks better, what doesn't. I am okay. I'm very okay without speculating or throwing out some crazy hypothetical realities out there. Just wait until it happens. Here is... Oh, and we have a comment, which I didn't see. So let's talk about it. I can't bring it up onto the screen, unfortunately. But Mr. Hops commented and asked, what are your thoughts on Saquon Barkley's recent bonus? That was recently. Okay. So what his bonus? Let me look into what his bonus is. I know that it's a lot. There's a lot of guarantees that go into the extension, but let me see what the bonus looks like for him. Let me look. Let me read this real quick so I can give a reaction to what the bonus looks like. On top of him making $20 million, $15 million in incentives. That's insane. Absolutely insane. If you're talking about the deal, it's insane. I think Saquon deserves it. Saquon's primarily the reason why the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Not the Super Bowl, but the reason why they were even there in the first place. Statistically, yes, Saquon Barkley did not do much in the Super Bowl, but he didn't need to because Saquon Barkley was able to distract the defense and allow Jalen Hurts to get yardage on rushing. He was also allowing the passing game to be exquisite for the Eagles. But yeah, that's a lot of money. $15 million in incentives is a crazy amount of money. Thank you, Mr. Hops, for commenting. It is a lot of money. $36 million is fully guaranteed of the extension. Saquon Barkley will go down in Philadelphia history. Saquon comes in for 1 year and does the unthinkable after playing with the Giants, not being able to do anything. I think he deserves it. If that's what you're asking me, I think he deserves it more than anybody else, any other running back. The problem I had with how much money the 49ers gave Christian McCaffrey, who's at like $19 million a year, is this. Christian McCaffrey never did anything for them. Christian McCaffrey was great for the Panthers, but Christian McCaffrey didn't do anything for the 49ers. They brought him on and gave him all this money. Christian McCaffrey has been so injury prone as well that the 49ers haven't even been able to capitalize on Christian McCaffrey's skills. Yes, they went to the Super Bowl, but I wouldn't even argue that Christian McCaffrey is a future player for the 49ers. He's not. He's had multiple injuries. He's not doing well. He keeps tearing things. So Saquon Barkley, single-handedly, on top of the O-line on the defense, was able to help bring a ring, bring another chip to Philly. An incentive with that, you get more money. James Cook, how about you take this? If you want more money, you go give us a ring. We will sign you. And it's you did it. You were the one that did it. You don't even have to do it in the Super Bowl. You just do it in the regular season. We will give you. How about that? You could be absent all season, James Cook. Come back for the prime Kansas City game in the playoffs. You could have, and you go off that game, and then you go silent again. We will give you all the money in the world just for helping us beat the Kansas City Chiefs and make it further in the playoffs and beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. You will go down as a legend in the Buffalo Bills world. But you have to do something. Matching O.J. Simpson's record, or to me, half of those touchdowns were not insane touchdowns. Derrick Henry was having 20-yard touchdowns. Saquon Barkley was having 20-yard carries. You were able to capitalize on an amazing O-line and run up the middle at the 3-yard line, at the 2-yard line, or when we were just outside of the tush-push field position. Like, if we weren't able to do the tush-push, James Cook runs out the middle. I think that's great. You did great. You deserve more money. You don't deserve $20 million. You don't deserve $15 million in incentives. Saquon Barkley, and I also believe in incentives so much. Like, you should have a base salary, but if you can't do what your job is to do for the team, then you shouldn't make as much money. Saquon Barkley is going to get $20 million a year, but you're going to get $15 million in incentives if you're able to do your job. I agree with that 110%. So I love the bonus that Saquon Barkley was able to get. But yeah, I'm indifferent. I am very indifferent about James Cook at this point. I love his skill. I love what he's able to do for us. But at this point, because I haven't seen the team without him, I don't believe that we would fail without him. So that's my official answer. Thank you so much, Mr. Hops, for giving us that question, that comment. Now, look, before I end the live, I want to just say thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. Thank you if you're watching this afterwards. Make sure that you hit bell notifications so you don't miss any lives. And biggest thing, please, please, please give love to the channel. I post daily on Instagram. I post daily on TikTok, on X, on YouTube. And then I'm also posting on Threads, which is pretty much nobody's on Threads. But, if you are on Threads, if you don't like X, I'm on there. Please go follow the accounts. Please please share the accounts. Turn on bell notifications so you never miss an update. If I go live spontaneously, in the upcoming weeks, there's going to be massive trades, massive signings, big things happening. Even if it's not Buffalo Bills related, I will come on, I will go live, I'll talk about it. But that requires you guys to have bell notifications on so you know that I'm going live, because it's not a planned, scheduled thing, so that you guys can go, oh, yeah, he's live. Let's go look and see what he's saying. Anyway, appreciate you all coming on tonight. I hope you have a fantastic evening. I hope you enjoyed this new format. I hope you enjoyed the new 4K camera that we're able to capitalize on. I hope that things are becoming more streamlined. And I am just super excited. I hope you guys are too, for the changes that are going to continue to come to this channel each and every week. But with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great night. Go Bills. Go Bandits. Go Sabres. It is still 0-0 for the Sabres at this point. Let me look, because that doesn't look right. Let me check on my phone real quick and see what it says. Sabres are 0-0 at the end of the first. Okay. End of the first period, 0-0. Let me check the Sabres app, because I don't really trust online at this point. Okay. End of the first, 0-0. All right. Buffalo Sabres for the Buffalo Bills night in KeyBank Center in Buffalo. It's currently 0-0. Let's hope for a win. Let's hope that they can pull a miracle. But we'll see. Hopefully by next week we will know for sure whether or not, if they aren't going to make the playoffs, we will know within the next couple games. So I will have probably a better, more confident answer for you next week. Right now, there's still a chance. It's a small one, but there's still a chance. But we're looking at 0-0 at the end of the first period. Again, have a great night. I appreciate you all for tuning in to the show. You have just watched the 716 Playbook, where every play counts. Go Sabres, go Bandits, and go Bills.